1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us as we are now 48 hours away from the preseason finale, Jacksonville and Atlanta, up at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. We expect the Jaguar starters to get more work on Friday night than they've gotten combined in the last two preseason games, probably a quarter and a half, maybe 2 quarters for some of the starters. We do not expect the Atlanta Falcons starters to play, which that's interesting. More on that later on tonight as we start looking ahead to Jacksonville and Atlanta. The Florida State Seminoles are on an airplane right now. They are traveling to Dublin, Ireland. That's exactly right. As college football kicks off in less than 72 hours with the Seminoles and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And we have high school football all over Northeast Florida. Week 1 of the high school football FHSAA regular season gets underway Friday evening with a lot of great games, including Bowles and Rains, Baker County, Bradford County, Creekside, Mandarin, just to name a few. And we're going to talk about all of it tonight. We're going to give you some high school talk. We're going to give you some college talk. And of course, we're going to give you some Jaguar and some NFL talk. In fact, coming up in less than 15 minutes, my Jaguar one-on-one down at the Miller Electric Center earlier today was with undrafted rookie linebacker Andrew Parker out of Appalachian State. Parker is a guy that I like. Will he make the 53? I don't know. I think he's a bubble guy, maybe a fringe bubble guy. I do believe he will be on the practice squad. I do believe they like him. Hopefully nobody comes and gets him off of said practice squad. But it's hard to make a roster in the NFL as an undrafted free agent. It's even hard in a situation like Jacksonville to make the practice squad with so many guys, so much depth on this football team. But I believe Andrew Parker out of App State will at minimum make the practice squad. You'll hear that conversation coming up in less than 15 minutes. Also, Zach Goodall of Jaguars Wire, which is a part of USA Today. He will stop by in less than a half an hour as we will talk more Jaguar training camp, look ahead to cut down day. Again, the Jaguars have to get from 90 to 53 by next Tuesday, August the 27th. And towards the bottom, or I guess towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour, we'll do a little high school talk. Jamie Rogers, the head coach of the Bradford County Tornadoes, as they are in one of the marquee Week 1 matchups Friday night. Bradford County, Baker County, in one of the best rivalries in Northeast Florida. So we are absolutely jam-packed tonight, particularly here in hour number 1. As always, here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So today was the 20th and final full open practice to the media. 20 practices in Jaguar training camp that we have been able to view in entirety. And you learned a lot. I learned a lot. From July the 24th, when training camp kicked off, to where we are today, August the 21st, some of my opinions have been verified on this Jaguar football team. Some of my opinions have changed for the better. And quite frankly, I'm a little more concerned in some other spots than I thought I would be. So what did we learn in this Jaguar training camp that started on July 24th, and I guess officially the training camp portion ended today on August the 21st? Well, a couple of things. Let's start with things that got verified, right? Joshua Hines-Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Tyson Campbell, those three in particular, if you want to throw in Foye Oluokun as well. The guys that got contract extensions this offseason, the guys who the organization showed them their value by giving them long-term extensions, all had great camps. Every one of them. Trevor Lawrence didn't start off great, but he ended great over the last 2.5, 3 weeks. He's been phenomenal. Joshua Hines-Allen has been great. Tyson Campbell has been very good. Foye Oluokun has been very good. You understand very clearly why the organization made such an investment in those guys, because they are clearly the team leaders. They are clearly going to be the leaders of this football team on both offense and defense, and I've been very pleased with what I've seen out of all four of those individuals. Something else that got verified is Evan Ingram, again, is just an absolute stud when it comes to training camp, to working the process. The guy was the first person on the field every practice. On social media every day, I would go out there and say your daily photo showing Evan Ingram being the first player on the field, because he was. For the 20 practices that I was at over the last 4 weeks, every one of them that was open, Evan Ingram was the first guy there. 20, 30 minutes before anybody else, going through his routine, running routes, stretching, sprints. Here is one of the best tight ends in football, a guy that got a long-term big money extension last year, a guy that's going to turn 30 next week, yet he's working his tail off, man. Again, when all's said and done, Evan Ingram is going to go down as one of the best free agent signings this franchise has ever made. I think for the here and now, Calais Campbell and my guy Leon Searcy probably take that mantle as the two best free agents the Jaguars have ever signed. I think there's a couple of guys on this roster that are going to join that list. Foye Oluokun, Christian Kirk, and absolutely Evan Ingram. He has been nothing short of outstanding in training camp, and I think Evan Ingram is going to have a gigantic year. Things that surprised me over the last 4 weeks in a positive way. I like this receiver room, man. I do. One of my big questions heading into camp was, all right, no more Calvin Ridley, no more Zay Jones, no more Jamal Agnew. That's a lot of production. Those were 3 of your top 4 guys at wide receiver last year. Christian Kirk, the only one that returned. But with the emergence of Brian Thomas Jr., the emergence of Gabe Davis, ever since he was able to re-enter because of recovering from that injury, but he's good to go now. And guys like Devin Duvernay and Parker Washington, man. I am unbelievably high on this wide receiver room. To me, top to bottom, it is a better, hands down, a better wide receiver room than what the Jaguars had a year ago. That was a surprise in a good way. I'll tell you another one is the 2023 draft class. And I alluded to this earlier this week. Whether it's Anton Harrison, Tank Bigsby, Antonio Johnson, Cooper Hodges, Christian Braswell, Parker Washington, Ventrell Miller, Tyler Lacey, Yasir Abdullah. Whew. Those 2023 draft picks got after it in camp. The only one that I might still have questions on is Britton Strange, the second rounder, and even he looked very good in the Tampa Bay joint practices. I am very, very high on what could be in that 2023 draft class. And the other one that stood out to me in a positive way that surprised me is the secondary. Again, you lose Darius Williams, you lose Trey Herndon, you lose Rashawn Jenkins, you cut a couple of those guys. Darnell Savage looks the part. Ronald Darby, better than I thought he was going to be. Jarian Jones, DeAndre Prince, good-looking rookies. Those are the three. The 2023 draft class, the secondary, and the wide receiver room. Pleasantly surprised by all three units over the last month in Jaguar training camp. The issues where I have maybe more concern than I thought I would. Offensive line. Yeah, I'm concerned. Am I panicked? No. Because like we talked about with Rick, and like I brought up earlier this week, we haven't seen all five guys, Cam Robinson, Ezra Cleveland, Mitch Morse, Brandon Sheriff, Anton Harrison. You haven't seen them on the field together yet in the preseason. We're going to see that Friday night. I'm looking forward to that. Now, how much will we learn when they're playing third and fourth teamers for Atlanta? Not much. You're going to learn a lot, probably September 8th, obviously, in the regular season opener against Miami. But I think there is some level of concern about the offensive line. Not panic, but concern. I want to see all five guys. Aside from that, maybe pass rush after Hines Allen and after Trayvon Walker. Trevis Gibson's been okay. They lost a guy that I thought was going to make the team in 47, Deshaun. I thought he was a lock to make the team. He has the ACL. He's out, which is unfortunate. Breeland Speaks, DJ Coleman, guys of that sort. I still think you need a fourth guy. If you consider Trevis Gibson your third guy, I still think you need a fourth. To me, I'm a little concerned about that. But overall, 20 practices that I was at, 4 weeks of Jaguar training camp. This team is what I thought they were going to be for the most part. I think they're in the 9 or 10 win range again. I think they're going to be in the conversation for a division championship in the month of December. And I think they're going to be in the running for a wild card. What ultimately happens? Well, that's the beauty of the NFL. We have to wait and see how this reality show known as the National Football League plays itself out. But I do believe, like I thought coming into training camp back on July 24th, nothing has changed my opinion from the fact that this Jaguar team is absolutely good enough to make the playoffs and to win the division. But make no mistake about it. If things don't go their way, they could be staring 5 or 6 wins in the face as well. It's going to be a roller coaster, ups and downs, which makes it fun, right? Makes it entertaining, makes it why we love the National Football League. 641-1010 on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. If you were out there at all over the last month, your thoughts, things that surprised you in a positive way, things that concern you, things you were spot on about. Love to hear your thoughts on the text line, 641-1010. We're absolutely jam-packed. We'll kick it off with my Jaguar one-on-one down at the Miller Electric Center from earlier today. My 20th interview of training camp. Undrafted free agent linebacker Andrew Parker Jr. out of Appalachian State. I think he's got a shot at the 53. I think he's almost a lock for the practice squad. He's opened some eyes as an undrafted free agent. We'll talk about this process. We'll talk about Ryan Nielsen. We'll talk about what he's learned from a guy like Foye Oluokun. Andrew Parker Jr. of the Jaguars next on a Wednesday night in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Belly up to the bar and talk about your team.
You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Jacksonville's Sports Radio, 1010XL, where friends meet.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey, school's in session, and here's today's lesson. We have hundreds of certified vehicles to choose from, starting as low as $89.99. Plus, they come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile peace of mind warranty and free oil changes. That means you and your soon-to-be drivers will be protected. Plus, every purchase allows us to fund teachers' projects for the entire school year. Your next assignment, get to Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. Deadline August 31st. We're here to wow you and our teachers.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's challenger, an asphalt marketer from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Sheldon Fish. Today's category, air conditioner repair experts in Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, I bet it's going to be Bueller.
Your question. Unlike Jacksonville, the Sahara Desert has a complete lack of air conditioner repair experts. What kind of camels do they ride?
That's not really a question about air conditioner repair.
5 seconds.
But that's a camel question.
Pick a camel, Sheldon.
Arabian dromedary.
That's right, Sheldon. Like the majestic Arabian dromedary, the skilled technicians at Bueller Air and Plumbing can repair any make and model of air conditioner the same day you call, making sure you are cool.
They don't spit, do they?
No, but Steve, the new guy, has a bit of a hump.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey gang, Hicken here for Zero Res. Man, it is hot outside this time of the year. Many of us are staying inside or going to the pool. Well, my friends at Zero Res are also heating things up. As you know, Zero Res does a great job of cleaning carpets and rugs. But they also clean luxury vinyl planking, tile and grout, fine stone and hardwood floors. And right now, the hottest price of the year, 25% off all hardwood cleaning. That's 25% off tile, LVP, fine stone, and hardwood floors. Zero Res, man, spell it forward. Zero Res, spell it back. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Jags Hall of Famer Tony Baselli puts on his gold jacket every Monday morning at 7:20 on The Drill.
Does look good.
It's Hall of Fame Monday with Tony Baselli.
Good? It's great.
Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida on 1010XL.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
Mia here. Are you ready for the ultimate college football season? Using MyBookie Sportsbook and casino platform, you can bet on every game and win anytime, anywhere, straight from your mobile device. No app needed. Just head on over to mybookie.ag, sign up, and you're ready to rock. When you bet with MyBookie, you're not just watching the games, folks. You're investing in every moment of the action. I'll say it from experience. A few bucks on the line can turn any regular game into one of the most exciting of the season. Literally, every catch, every sack, and every touchdown is another way to hit pay dirt using MyBookie. Don't forget to use promo code 1010XL when you sign up in order to claim up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
I am dedicated. I am TNT.
With Team in Training, you will reach your best physical self so blood cancer patients can reach theirs. Change your life by joining a marathon, half marathon, triathlon, or a cycle event, and you'll change the lives of blood cancer patients.
I am committed. I am TNT.
After 600,000 participants and almost $1 billion raised for treatments, TNT has helped the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society make a significant impact in the advancement of blood cancer therapies that save lives every day.
I am making a difference. I am TNT.
Join TNT. Expand your circle of friends to be part of a very special community. Train with world-class trainers and have the chance to be part of the most exciting endurance sports events in the country. Or train on your own schedule with TNT Flex. Join TNT and fundraise while you train and take part in getting us all closer to a world without blood cancers.
Join TNT now. Go to teamintraining.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. The final, training camp practice for the Jaguars was earlier today. They will travel to Atlanta tomorrow, play a game Friday night in the ATL, and then they have to get from 90 down to 53 by next Tuesday, August the 27th. I was at all 20 practices that were open to the media. My 20th and final interview of training camp this morning came with undrafted free agent linebacker Andrew Parker Jr. out of App State. I believe he's a lock for the practice squad. Could he potentially be on the 53-man roster bubble? I don't think that's outrageous to talk about that. Here's my conversation earlier today with Jaguar linebacker Andrew Parker. All right, Miller Electric Center, Jacksonville Jaguars wrapping up training camp. We're here with Jaguar linebacker Andrew Parker. Andrew, how things going out there today?
Everything's pretty good. Just getting the Fast Friday in, make sure we crystallize the game plan and stuff like that so we can go out there and play fast on Friday. Got Atlanta on Friday, preseason finale. What are you hoping to accomplish on Friday night? Really just continue to, stack days and put good stuff on film, and really just, finish out this preseason 3-0. As an undrafted free agent, obviously it's been a whirlwind for you the last couple of months. But you talk to the fans, you talk to us in the media, whatever we know, right? You've made a name for yourself out there. Do you feel like you've had a good camp to this point? I feel like I've had a pretty good camp, I've took steps every day, and try to go out there and be the same guy every day, just work and get better each and every opportunity that I get. Obviously that linebacker room, you're learning from some veterans like a Foye Aluakin. What have you learned from Foye during this process? Just being consistent, and doing the things that help you to be the best version of yourself every day. Foye is a guy that, he has a routine. He goes through his routine every day, and he never wavers from that. So just being consistent with that, I think. Well, a lot of young guys here. Obviously you talk about Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson and Miles Cole. Go on down the line. What's kind of the bonding process been like with all the young guys on defense? Yeah, it's been really fun. We hang out a lot on and off the field. All those guys are some of my close friends on the team, so it's been really fun. Watching Ryan Nielsen, looks like you guys are having a lot of fun out there when you make some plays. You let the offense know you're making plays. What kind of attitude has Ryan Nielsen brought to you guys? Just bringing the toughness mindset to the defense. We love it. He brings a great energy to the defense, and we're going to go out there and fly around. That's what we do. 2 wins, obviously. You want to win any game you play. How have you felt it's gone? Only 2 touchdowns in 8 quarters against Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Certainly you guys are producing on the stat line. Do you feel you're playing as well as the stats show? Yes, sir, without a doubt. We just, we play with that edge and that toughness, and I think that's what really allowing us. I think when you see 11 guys flying to the ball every play, it gets a little bit intimidating for offenses. So just playing together, it means a lot, I think, So, yeah. Andrew, as we begin to wrap up, you go against an offense that features Trevor Lawrence and Gabe Davis and Kirk and BTJ and all the ETN, Ingram. What's it like playing against these guys every day? Is it iron sharpening iron? Yeah, it's definitely a blessing. It's fun, just playing against these guys, just knowing that if you're able to cover these guys, you're some of the best players in the league at their position. So it's definitely a confidence boosting thing for a rookie like me, just a young guy just saying, okay, I can compete with these guys, and I can, I can go at them a little bit. If memory serves, after the draft, you had some options. Why Jacksonville? What was it about this organization that led you here? I would say just the overall culture of this program. I love the defensive coordinator. I love the coaching staff, and I love the players that are in this locker room. That was really the selling factor. As we say goodbye, you mentioned Atlanta on Friday night, then cut down day, the practice squad as well. As an undrafted free agent, it's kind of a numbers game, but you've made such a name for yourself. What are your expectations moving forward? 53-man roster, practice squad, you certainly feel like you belong on one of those?
Yes, sir, without a doubt. I think I belong on one of those, and whatever the organization believes, that's what we're going to do. So.
Andrew, I really appreciate it. Best of luck Friday night in Atlanta.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate the honesty, man. I believe he belongs on the practice squad minimum as well. You think about the linebacker room here in Jacksonville. All right, Oluwakin, Devin Lloyd, Miller, Muma are locks, right? Those four. Caleb Johnson, probably, because he's a very good special teams player. So if you keep 6, I think Andrew Parker's in the conversation. Yasir Abdullah, what do you do about him? Abdullah's the interesting one because he was drafted for the Mike Caldwell scheme. Ryan Nielsen's scheme is a lot different. So Abdullah's going to have to figure out how to play Sam linebacker, I think. I don't think he's going to be having his hand on the ground near as much anymore when he's out there. So is it simply a battle between Parker and Yasir Abdullah? I think it might be one or the other. Both of them certainly won't be here. And then does it become a political thing because Abdullah was a draft pick where Parker was an undrafted free agent? There's all these things you got to figure out. And I'm going to do a 53-man roster again tomorrow prior to the Atlanta game. Look, spots 1 through 46 are pretty easy. You can do them without a lot of thought, right? 47 through 53, it's hard. It's really hard. How many safeties do they keep? How many corners do they keep? How many wide receivers? How many interior defensive linemen? How many offensive linemen? Could there be some veterans on the chopping block? There's a lot of things to figure out. And again, cut-down day is less than a week away. The Jaguars play on Friday night. They have to get down to 53 by Tuesday. I would think you'll probably see cuts begin trickling in over the weekend. If not Saturday, certainly Sunday, whereas by Monday, you probably have a pretty good idea who you're going to, quote-unquote, battle with during the regular season. Because, again, that 53-man roster has to be finalized by early Tuesday afternoon. Thank you to Andrew Parker, and thank you to the Jaguars PR staff for the entirety of training camp. I mean, all of them. John, Amanda, Jacob, Dylan, Emily. They were all fantastic, helping us out, helping every show out here on 1010XL, and we certainly appreciate it. Coming up next, more on the Jaguars, more on the game in Atlanta, more on the roster cut-down day. Zach Goodall, Jaguars Wire, which is a part of USA Today. Zach does a terrific job covering this team. Let's talk preseason. Let's talk training camp. Let's talk cuts. And let's do it next on Hacker After Dark.
Celebrate a new season.
Don't hold nothing back.
1010XL's college kickoff coverage is brought to you by Jenkins Genesis of Northeast Florida and Island Oaks RV Park.
Do not start celebrating too early.
On 1010XL.
Rejoice.
Hacker here with a new opportunity for you. The 20-pound summer slim down with Awaken 180 weight loss. Dropping 20 pounds before summer ends, cruising to your goal of 30, 40, 50-plus pounds down. It's simple. You take the last few weeks of summer, eating, drinking, enjoying the weather, but the difference? You're doing it with the 20-pound summer slim down. But you say, Hack, summer's almost over. Well, that's the point. The pounds melt off fast with Awaken 180. I dropped my first 20 in less time, and that easy 20 propelled me to reach my goal of losing over 85 pounds. Think about it. You're about to slide back into the same old fall routine with the same old mindset. Mix it up. Live up the rest of your summer while dropping the first 20. Then jump into fall with a whole new groove. Yeah, I said it, and you'll be saying it too in just a few weeks. 20-pound summer slim down with the solution for weight loss. Online, awaken180weightloss.com.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision and equal opportunity employer.
I-9 Sports wants to make sure kids all over the First Coast can enjoy growing up on a field or in a gym. And right now, fall and winter registration is open. Find out what I-9 Sports offers across Duval, Clay, and St. John's. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount.
This is Mark Nato. My sons and I have seen the doctors and PAs at Southeast Ortho for everything from lumbar spine stress to elbow tendonitis. Southeast has always been there, been truthful, and always been on point. Everything they say happens. We can't thank them enough for what they've done and the great care that they have taken of our sons.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish. And he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoor Show.
With tips and stories.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Every Saturday morning, 7 to 10.
On 1010XL.
With Labor Day savings at the Home Depot, you can get up to $1,500 off select appliances from top brands like LG, America's most reliable line of appliances, like the LG Smart Top Load Washer with easy unload angled front, so you can reach every last sock. Right now, get up to $1,500 off select appliances in-store and online with Labor Day savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid August 22nd through September 11th. U.S. only. See store online for details. America's most reliable line of appliances per independent study.
Roof damage? Call before you claim. Green Law Group, fighting insurance companies for you. They will work for you when you have roof damage. Don't let your insurance deny you. Don't call an adjuster. Call Green Law Group at 904-302-7055. Remember, if you have roof damage, call Green Law Group before you claim. They've settled millions and will work hard to get your claim and new roof. Green Law Group. Call before you claim. 904-302-7055.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Mack and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars, to trucks, to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm Mack with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjax.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Oh, I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Sports fans, JJ LaSalva here. When I need to send my bride flowers or a plant for birthdays or anniversaries, I always go with Kuhn Flowers. After all, they've been the leading florist in these parts for over 75 years. You can always rely on Kuhn Flowers.
Jaguars football is officially back. Be there for the Jaguars 2024 home opener when they go head-to-head with the Cleveland Browns. Join us as we celebrate Hispanic heritage and take the field at Everbank Stadium for the first time during our 30th season. Lock in your seats now for the 1 p.m. kick by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you back at the bank.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Falcons Friday night to close out the NFL preseason. Of course, after that, the Jaguars have until Tuesday the 27th to get from 90 all the way down to 53, and then all eyes will turn to the season opener Sunday, September 8th against the Miami Dolphins. Let's review camp. Let's look ahead to Friday night with my buddy Zach Goodall. Jaguars Wire is where you find his terrific coverage of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Zach is always kind enough to give us some time right here on 1010XL. Zach, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic, Hacker. Appreciate you having me as always.
Hey, Zach, thank you. You and I haven't spoke on air since before the first preseason game was played. Now there's 2 games under our belt. Camp officially ended earlier today, at least the media's last opportunity to witness the full practice. Just a mile-high view, Zach, going back from July 24th to where we sit now on August 21st. How would you assess this Jaguar training camp?
I think all things considered, and coming in with, I guess, about 5 years since I had last seen a Jaguars training camp, I came away impressed. I mean, certainly in comparison to when I was doing it, I feel as though the team is way deeper and more talented, but that's probably obvious at this point. We got off to that start, and I believe we even talked about it, where the defense and the pass defense in the first couple days, that acclimation period, they were really having their way. They were intercepting passes left and right, making plays on the ball. Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, and C.J. Beathard were all having moments of struggle. Ever since then, it's really been all offense, and not to discredit the defense, because I don't want to make that sound like a big concern. I think that what we've seen in the preseason games, whether it's 1-on-1s, 2s-on-2s, 3s-on-3s, or some different matchups, intertwining those teams, there's been enough to take away to feel good about both sides of the ball just based on what we've seen in camp and preseason so far. And it's not perfect. I still think that there are some concerns along the offensive line, especially with run blocking, not to mention pass pro too. It's not necessarily perfect, but all in all, you see the depth of the team. I do think it seems improved from where this roster was at this point last year, and probably throughout the season last year. And they're off to a good start. I'm curious to see what the starters look like with more than just 1 or 2 drives this weekend or on Friday against Atlanta, to see them do a full half and really get some momentum, not only on their side, but for Atlanta to have some momentum and some chemistry for 30 minutes of a game, to really see what these teams look like with a little bit more stress on their first teams.
Zach Goodall here with us, Jaguars Wire on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. You alluded to the offensive line, Zach, and there's a lot of positives to take out of camp, and we'll get to those in a moment. But clearly the fan base, you interact with them on social media, I do as well. There is some concern about the offensive line. Now, my thought is I would pump the brakes a little bit, because we haven't seen all 5 starters out there at one time yet, right? You saw Robinson,
right,
Moore, Sheriff in week 1 of the preseason. Then they didn't play. Cleveland and Harrison played week 2, but they didn't play week 1. So now on Friday against Atlanta, we'll see all 5 guys. And if they don't do anything Friday night, then maybe my concern level will be raised. But it's my opinion you got to give the starters out there some time together. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, certainly. I think there's a give and take. I mean, the give, I guess, being that this line is so similar to last year's. And granted, last year, the same issues were there, right? The health, obviously Cam Robinson starting the season on a suspension. And I guess just a few years of the kind of core contributors being okay to good at times, but never this standout line. So I think from the fans' perspective, it's that familiarity, almost like a bad sense of nostalgia, kind of, with the line where it's coming from. And then when you see some of the occurrences in the preseason with run blocking, for instance, it probably validates some of those opinions. But I agree. In camp especially, I feel like when they have these days where it's even half padded, or even when they're in full pads at times, like these one-on-one drills and stuff, a lot of drills really aren't set up for offensive linemen to look great. And in these one-on-ones especially, which I know people were paying attention to during joint practice with the Bucs for one, and in that stadium practice too, where it was out in the open, those one-on-ones, the offensive line didn't look good. But that really is a drill that is designed for defensive linemen to at least have a bit of an advantage with the running start and really no blocking help for the offensive linemen. So I'm with you too. I think that once we see what should be the unit at full health on Friday, and obviously week 1 is kind of where I really turn on the binoculars and say, all right, how much has this unit gotten better? How much is, as Doug Peterson has said, the continuity and ideal full health of the line make it look compared to last year. But I understand the concern too. I really think it can go both ways.
Zach, that offensive line's job is to protect Trevor Lawrence at all costs. That did not always happen in 2023, which is why Trevor had those injuries. Look, if Trevor Lawrence is healthy, this team can be pretty good, in my opinion. They'll go as far as Trevor will take them. What's been your opinion on Trevor Lawrence throughout this camp?
I totally agree with you. And to go back to earlier with the first couple of days, and they were, shaking some rust off. And again, defense might have some advantages in that kind of situation when you're going against unpadded blockers. Pressure becomes a little easier to create, and some, Lawrence made some decisions even in those couple days with the team, and he said, listen, I wouldn't really do that in a game. I was just taking a chance here. I was rolling out. I was under pressure. I can do that in practice. So those concerns, especially once we got past those first 3 days, they really kind of were wiped from everyone's memory banks, if you think about it. He's been pretty automatic. In fairness to even CJ Beathard and Mac Jones, before Beathard's injury this past weekend, they have been too. And these are practice settings. They're simple. Concepts aren't super dynamic or necessarily what is going to be shown on game day, and there are going to be instances where both the offense and the defense wins. So some of these throws, when you see Trevor going 9 of 11, 10 of 12 on a practice day, there are some easy completions in there, no doubt. A lot of them, even. We don't see these constant 3 deep touchdowns to Brian Thomas Jr. a day that I think people wanted to see at the start. But you saw as Trevor gained comfort, as the offensive line became more physical with pads on, and as receivers, as Gabe Davis worked his way in, as he took the offseason a little easy coming off an injury last year, and Brian Thomas got comfortable, and Christian Kirk got back to 100% before his injury last week. You could see things were coming together for the unit. I'd argue pretty quickly, considering all the changes that happened at wide receiver especially. And again, I think the word to use to describe Trevor Lawrence in the passing offense specifically when they got their flow was rather automatic from, let's call it like day 5 of camp through at least as long as I was there. I didn't really get to come up this week, but we even saw it apply to Lawrence's outing in the first preseason game. That it seems like they all have the chemistry they need, and at least where you want them to be before week 1.
A couple more for Zach Goodall, the Jaguars Wire. He's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Zach, last offensive thought before we switch sides of the ball to the defense. You mentioned Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas. Look, I think the Jaguar fan base knows what they have with ETN, with Ingram, and with Kirk. When all 3 guys are healthy, they're dynamic. There was a lot of question about Gabe Davis, a lot of question about Brian Thomas. I would even want Parker Washington, Devin Duvernay, maybe Tank Bigsby in this as well. Outside of ETN, Ingram, and Kirk, how do you feel the skill position guys have fared?
Right. It goes back to the depth point I made earlier, too. And I had my concerns about Parker Washington coming in. I thought he was serviceable as a 6th-round pick stepping in last year, but I didn't necessarily see the player that I thought the Jags were describing throughout the offseason when I turned on last season's tape. And obviously Tank Bigsby and Brenton Strange's concerns were pretty well documented coming into this year. It's a prove-it year for both of those players. And then, you look at the depth at wide receiver in adding a Devin Duvernay. Everyone believes that he's coming in to be a return specialist, but he's been a very flashy, consistent, dependable receiver, working with Trevor Lawrence at times, a lot of action with Mac Jones and CJ Beathard. And I don't want to act like he's been some constant deep threat or anything, but he's brought in several long passes, some contested grabs in camp. He looks like another quality depth receiver, and that just speaks to, where this roster has gone. Like last year when Christian Kirk fell out of the lineup, not to mention Trevor Lawrence's injuries, but that's when the offense fell apart. And now I'm not, Devin Duvernay may not be Christian Kirk, but the Jags can worry a little bit less about, hey, we had a playmaker go down. It's okay. It seems we can install another one. You apply that to Tank Bigsby at running back. The last preseason he was flashy, and then we saw what happened during the season. But I think he's been consistent this year, whether it's physical as a runner, explosive as a runner. His vision seems better, at least behind the line of scrimmage. He's finding creases and getting through them. Looks solid as a pass catcher, too, with sharpened route running. This year 1 to year 2 jump that they've talked about, Trent Baalke's talked about, sometimes I think it can be cliche. I think everyone wants to see that out of their players that struggled when they were rookies. But I think at least when it comes to Parker and Tank and Brenton Strange, at a minimum through camp, 2 of those 3 players have looked like they are in for that year 2 jump. And that's just another level of how much this depth has grown, I think.
I completely agree. I think the depth of the skill position has massively been upgraded from where it was a year ago. Quickly, Zach, to defense. One of the biggest questions I had coming in was the secondary, right? I mean, we knew about Tyson Campbell and Darby, and you figured Jarian Jones as a 3rd-round pick. We're all locked. Question was about the young guys, right? Well, I think we learned about Christian Braswell in this camp. I think we learned that Buster Brown is still going to battle. I think we learned at safety that maybe they got some really good ones, not only Antonio Johnson, Cisco, and Savage, but when Daniel Thomas has been healthy, he was good. I thought Terrell Edmonds filling in for Dewey has been very solid. There's going to be some tough cuts in that secondary because a lot of those guys have performed very, very well.
There will be, and at the same time, though, I feel like they're still putting in some work with Dewey. I mean, who would have thought to me that Dewey's injury would be so significant? And not to discredit him as a player, he's obviously incredibly valuable safety depth and a core special teamer. But, I mean, they've signed 2 10-year safeties, very accomplished safeties in the aftermath of his injury, and Adrian Amos and Deshaun Gibson I don't see either of those guys being special teamers, quite frankly, at this stage in their career. So to me, that is them, even with, the strong impression Terrell Edmonds made, especially in the first preseason game. He was dominant there. Daniel Thomas is certainly, especially in practice, flashed, and there's obviously a role for him here as a special teamer. He signed a contract extension this offseason, but I think they're still looking. And maybe part of that has also been because of Darnell Savage being limited, even though we'll get to see him full go this week. But to me, while the pieces are there, at least in the starting secondary. And quick note, I'm a big fan of Ronald Darby and think that he could be a real legitimate player in the secondary this year. But to me, at least at safety, it seems they still feel as though they have a missing piece that they identify. And maybe that is only because of Andrew Wingard's injury. But I don't know, that's been kind of the more fascinating yet under the radar storylines, I think, of this camp so far is the work they're trying to do to find one more contributing safety.
Final moment, Zach Goodall, the Jaguars Wire. All right, Zach, as we make the turn for home, cut down day is the 27th, although with the Jaguars playing on the 23rd, I would think a lot of those cuts might take place on Saturday and Sunday, and maybe just the last remaining cuts will take place maybe Monday the 26th. So we are on the doorstep of having to go from 90 to 53. On a, I guess, a more negative note, we'll end more positive. Give me a veteran or 2 that maybe you thought was safe on July 23rd, and now you're reassessing that on August 21st.
That's a great question. See, I find it difficult because I've been thinking about this. I can't imagine a world in which Roy Robertson Harris isn't safe to make the roster because of his contract situation. And I know that Doug Peterson and Ryan Nielsen have spoke positively of him the past couple of days, but if I can just be honest, I've been really disappointed for understanding not only, I think, the past couple of years, maybe a bit of a fall off last year, but I thought he was a serviceable, good lineman. I talked to Demetrius Harvey with the Times Union back last year, and I thought that they needed to extend Robertson Harris, if only because there was just nothing else on that interior defensive line helping Jacksonville up. That's changed tremendously this offseason. I mean, it starts with Eric Armstead, who we've not, besides these couple days of practice, gotten to see in any action, but we know what he brings to the team. Usezi Otomewo, I hope I got that right, but I think he's been one of the more consistently good defensive linemen throughout not just camp, but we've seen it in the preseason games. He leads the team in sacks and pressures. Mason Smith is obviously someone they view very highly as a second-round pick, and he's going to get playing time. His former LSU teammate at nose tackle, Jordan Jefferson, has looked solid too and will back up Devon Hamilton, who is back to full health. All of a sudden, you look at that, where does Roy Robertson Harris kind of fit in, especially for his action has been limited. He's coming off of injury that really limited his performance or availability, I should say, in off-season team activities and mini camp. Again, just with the amount of money and the dead cap that would come into play there, I don't think Jacksonville can cut him. I just don't see a path forward to him being a significant contributor unless there's injuries at this point. He doesn't look like the player that I've seen on tape before right now, and he's, to me, kind of getting lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, look, I don't think that's a bad take at all, and he was playing deep into the third quarter against Kansas City there in preseason week 1. Maybe that was a message to him. Quickly, 60 seconds. Is there a young guy that maybe you didn't think had a shot on July 23rd that you think has a shot now?
There are a couple, and it just depends on how these battles work out, because I feel like, especially on offense, you can look down and see any starter or significant contributor is locked in. Like, you know who that's going to be. So it's tough. A lot of these battles are tough to assess. But I've really been impressed by running back Jalen Jackson. And with Keelan Robinson being injured right now and missing time in the preseason, you wonder if maybe he goes on IR to start the season or if it's short-term enough that they won't do that. But in the former event, all of a sudden, I think that opens a path for Jalen Jackson. Undrafted running back who's, really been good against contact and broken off on some runs, been a solid receiver, even worked into the return game. He's been a fun player to watch.
Zach, tell us about Jaguars Wire and what you guys have coming up, not only Friday night for the Falcon game, but as the cuts come down early next week.
Just nonstop content. Got a couple of teammates that I'm working to get on board to only bolster our coverage, make it even stronger than what I've been able to do on my own here these last couple months. So I'm really excited. Those guys should be in and officially set up, if not by Friday, then in the week leading up to week 1. So check it out over at jaguarswire.usatoday.com.
Zach Goodall, jaguarswire.usatoday.com. Zach, really appreciate it, man. Thank you as always.
Absolutely. Thank you.
1010XL takes you inside the program director's office with Dan and Jeff.
You'll do anything you can to ruin my day, won't you?
Mornings
I got up today feeling so good.
on 1010XL.
We're doing so well.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
This is Nia Lauren Stample, former Florida State national champion and the proud owner of NLS Cleaning. Just like on the gridiron, we tackle dirt and grime with unmatched precision. Whether it's your commercial property or your residential space, we are ready to take care of your exterior cleaning needs. NLScleaning.net.
Oh, no. No.
You okay in there?
Toilet's backed up. It won't flush.
Okay, I'll call the pros.
The tank isn't filling. The handle does nothing. Run for your life.
Don't be so dramatic. Duck Rooter will fix it.
For any plumbing issue, call Duck Rooter, your local plumbing professionals and proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. DuckDuckRooter.com.
When you're stuck, call the Duck.
904-862-6769.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Jags fans, a new Everbank Performance account could be your ticket to London this October. Through the Everbank London Getaway, one lucky winner and a guest will receive round-trip airfare, hotel accommodations, and a pair of tickets to see the Jags play in London. To learn more and for official rules, visit everbank.com/London. No person necessary to enter or win. Open legal residence in 50 United States and D.C. 18 or older. Entry period for the Everbank London Getaway Suites is from 8/5/24 to 9/5/24. To enter and for official rules, alternate method of entry, prize description, odds of winning, and other details, visit everbank.com/London. Sponsor and administrator, Everbank N.A.
I am dedicated. I am TNT.
With Team in Training, you will reach your best physical self so blood cancer patients can reach theirs. Change your life by joining a marathon, half marathon, triathlon, or a cycle event, and you'll change the lives of blood cancer patients.
I am committed. I am TNT.
After 600,000 participants and almost $1 billion raised for treatments, TNT has helped the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society make a significant impact in the advancement of blood cancer therapies that save lives every day.
I am making a difference. I am TNT.
Join TNT. Expand your circle of friends to be part of a very special community. Train with world-class trainers and have the chance to be part of the most exciting endurance sports events in the country. Or train on your own schedule with TNT Flex. Join TNT and fundraise while you train and take part in getting us all closer to a world without blood cancers.
Join TNT now. Go to teamintraining.org.
Googan Nation, it's Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here to tell you this is no dream. The folks at Dreamfinders Homes right now have an unbeatable interest rate for you. You may not think you can afford a Dreamfinders home. Well, think again. Take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. I said it, 2.99%. 15 Jacksonville communities to choose from. Find that dream house and take advantage of an unbeatable rate. Move now, literally. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
VSiN's College Football Guide delivers betting previews of all 134 teams with best bets for the playoffs, Heisman Trophy, season win totals, conference winners, and much more. Only on VSiN. Pro subscribers get the full guide, but you can download your free copy of the guide right now. Featuring a betting preview of the Gators, Seminoles, and Bulldogs at 1010XL.com. That's 1010XL.com. 1010XL.com. Download your free copy of the guide right now.
Before termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix it. At Terminix, we know how to stop termites. These destructive pests have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so do we. And their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem? Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com. Terminix it.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
The hottest trend in casual dining has expanded in Jacksonville with its 5th location off 103rd. The Flame Broiler serves up protein-packed rice bowls. It's fast, healthy, and affordable. Order online at flamebroilerusa.com or visit any of our 5 locations. Flame Broiler, simply healthy.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We will take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM. If you're driving around out there, be careful. At least on the south side, it has just opened up outside, just pouring down rain. So drive with caution out there if you're out and about on the roadways. A lot of roadways will be full on Friday with people going to high school football. Week 1 of the FHSAA regular season set to kick off. A lot of really good games, man. Creekside Mandarin, Bowls, and Rains. And one of the best rivalries in Northeast Florida. Baker County, Bradford County. The head coach of the Bradford County Tornadoes is my buddy Jamie Rogers. I had the opportunity to catch up with Coach Rogers to preview Friday night in what is one of the biggest rivalries in the entire area. Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. It's opening week in Northeast Florida for high school football. There's a lot of really good games, really good rivalries, and one of the best ones on Friday night is Baker County and Bradford County. You don't really need to say anything else. 2 good teams, 2 rivals going at it out there at Baker County High School. Let's talk to the head coach of the Bradford County Tornadoes, who will be making that trip. Head coach Jamie Rogers, always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, how we doing?
Doing great, man. Good to talk to you today.
Coach, always appreciate it. All right, opening night's always a big night regardless, but, man, when it's Baker and Bradford, the stakes are anteed up a little bit, are they not?
Yeah, it's an awesome opener. I told our kids yesterday at practice, I said, hey, man, you're going to play in front of more people than you've ever played in front of in your life, especially all the new people that are having to play. We have some experience, but a lot of new guys are having to start. There's a lot of new names in the starting lineup on both sides. And I just told them how excited and what a great opportunity this is, just for a week one game, much less anything else. But for this to be your opener to play in that kind of atmosphere, it's about as good as it gets for high school football.
Well, there's no question about it. And look, I mean, you guys obviously a lot of success in the postseason. I know you did have a lot of seniors last year. I don't necessarily know if you're a young football team this year, but how would you assess the talent you had to replace this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, well, we've got 5 guys that have moved on to play Division I football, 7 total that went on to play college football. That's hard to replace. Like you just don't replace that. You don't get the opportunity to have college football players on your team often. Like I've probably had, I don't know, 15 in my career, something like that, 15 or 16 Division I football players in a 20-year career. So, we've got a lot of guys that got a lot of experience. They've played a lot of downs, but they're not used to being the guy. Chasen Clark, Torrin Brazil, Khalil Cummings, Dejon Shanks, those guys, what they could do on a Friday. I mean, they could take over games. Those 4 guys could take over games. And, it may not be that, but we've got a ton of experience that played that got to practice with those guys, watch the way they do things. And we've got a lot of guys that I'm excited about watching play.
Jamie Rogers, the head coach of Bradford County. Coach, anybody that's followed your career knows your football teams are tough. They're physical, bust you in the mouth with the run game, get after the quarterback on defense. Is that going to be your mentality for your team again here in 2024?
Yeah, heck, nothing's going to change for us. We're gonna practice the same way we practice. We're going to lift the same way we lift. We train all summer the way that we train. We're going to coach them hard. That's one thing beautiful about this place. You can still coach kids really hard. I'm not talking about abusive or over the top or anything like that. I'm just talking about you can get after kids and set a standard and hold them to it. And we're not going to change anything the way we do it.
I always tell people when you talk about the best rivalries in the area, people might not all of a sudden think of Baker and Bradford, maybe a tad outside the Jacksonville area, although not really, to be honest with you. But I think it is one of the best rivalries, maybe the best rivalry. Raines, Rebald, Baker, Bradford. You could argue a couple others as well. I mean, there's a respect factor out there. Both alumni absolutely love their school, and it's going to be a great atmosphere on Friday night out there at Baker County High School.
No, yeah, it's awesome. It's been that way for a long, long time. These 2 have been playing since, I think since Baker County started playing football in the 50s. So it's a great rivalry. There's family members that live in each county. My brother lived in Bradford for 30 years when I was playing. I was a player and coaching in Baker. So I've been on both sides of this. I have family on both sides of it, and just like a lot of people do. But at the end of the day, it's all about Friday night, and it's all about a great atmosphere and a bunch of kids that are playing hard against one another. And, at the end of the day, there's no hard feelings or anything like that. After Friday night, we'll move on, and it'll just be another game. But for this Friday night, it's like you said, it's as fun as it gets.
Obviously, you took Baker County to a state championship game as that head coach. You've been at Bradford now a handful of years. Still weird for you, or is that kind of nostalgia factor worn off a little bit?
Yeah, it's worn off some. I mean, it is what, I go in Walmart in Baker County, people want to talk about it or whatever. But it's kind of moved on. Everybody knows I'm the same person I've been my whole life. When I'm the same guy I was when I was the head coach there. So it's nothing changes as far as that goes. People know me. They know the way we do things and know the way I'm going to do things. But yeah, that's kind of moved past. We'll after week 1, we'll move on and start trying to get ready for our district games and things like that. So it's an important game. It's a fun game. And, I wish everybody got to participate. I grew up in it, so I got to play in these games against Bradford. And I wish everybody got a chance to play and be a part of atmospheres like this.
It definitely sets the tone for the season. Final moments, Jamie Rogers, the head coach of Bradford County. Coach, invite them out. You're on the road this week, but let's not kid ourselves. There'll be a ton of Bradford County folks making that trip. You know, Baker County will be well represented. They'll be tailgating hours before the game. That is a crazy environment out there. Just invite them out to Baker County High School on Friday night. What can they expect?
Oh, there'll be 500 to 1,000 just standing up. I don't know if they're going to stop selling tickets or not, but this thing will be, the capacity will be sold out by Wednesday. So we got our allotment of tickets that we got, and I'm pretty sure they're already sold out. And you know, it's just a lot of fun. You know, the jumbotron, the Friday Night Light experience of what it's supposed to be. You know, you're pulling in on the bus as a visiting team, and you got 100 people out there eating and tailgating under tents, and just things that you don't see on a normal Friday night in the fall. But there's still a few places that you get to see it, and I'm fortunate to be it. I've been at both of them, and I was at Swanee, and it was the same way there. So I've been at 3 of them where it was just like that. So, you better get there early if you want to sit down.
Bradford County, Baker County, Friday night to open up the high school football season. Jamie Rogers, Coach, best of luck Friday night. We'll be talking soon, my friend.
Thanks, Hacker. Appreciate you guys.
There you go, Jamie Rogers, the head coach of Bradford County. Best of luck to all the high school football players that will take the field on opening week this Friday night. Justin Barney of Channel 4 talking Jaguars and a little high school football as well. Also, my buddy Brent Beard talking a little college football as Florida State Georgia Tech kicks off the college football season on Saturday. 9 o'clock hour is loaded. We'll take you all the way till 10 o'clock. Glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's Saturday night under the Daytona lights.
This race never disappoints.
NASCAR Coke Zero 400 at Daytona. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234. From the station with the most horsepower, 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. I'm down 92 pounds in 6 months. I took a before and after photo, posted it to my social media. People couldn't believe it. That thing got liked 1,000+ times. It got viewed like 22,000 times. It blew up, and it blew up because I have ballooned down. I've lost 92 pounds in 6 months thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. The best weight loss program I've ever been on. If you need to lose a little bit of weight, or if you were like me and need to lose a lot of weight, Awaken 180 can help you. They've helped me. Quite frankly, they've probably saved my life. And I don't say that very lightly. If you need to lose weight, trust it from a guy who's lost 92 pounds in the last 6 months. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. They can help you. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey, school's in session, and here's today's lesson. We have hundreds of new vehicles. Camrys starting at $329 a month. RAV4s for $349 a month. Tundras as low as $499 a month. And they all come with a 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. That means you and your soon-to-be drivers will be protected for the next 20 years. Plus, every purchase will help fund a teacher's project in our schools. Your next assignment, get to Beaver Toyota St. Augustine. Deadline August 31st. We're here to wow you and our teachers.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
It's poker with a purpose. The Hold'em for Life Texas Hold'em Tournament at Blessed Trinity Parish Hall benefits the Women's Help Center with a focus on expectant mothers and newborns. If you'd like to play or sponsor, call 904-868-8873.
Help make Jacksonville safer and play a round of golf at the First Coast Crime Stoppers Golf Tournament, October 21st at Amelia River Club.
If you could benefit from a grief and loss support group, call Haven Hospice at 279-1677.
Having a mentor can positively change a young life right here in Jacksonville. It only takes 4 to 7 hours a month to be a big brother or big sister and change a life forever. Become a big today at bbbsnefl.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010xl.com.
Hey, it's Mike Dempsey, and you know how I feel about Pella Windows and Doors. Great design, strongest warranties, and the highest quality product. I even chose Pella Windows for my own home. And whether you're a homeowner replacing windows or building a new home or a trade professional working with clients, I know the design experts at Pella will help your project run smoothly and look great. Visit PellaJacks.com or the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway at Pella Windows and Doors.
See the world through the eyes of a linebacker.
I tell it like I see it, and I see it like a middle linebacker.
Tom McManus joins Jaguars Today every Friday morning.
Period.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Tickets are on sale now for this year's Florida Forum Speaker Series featuring former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, physician and author Deepak Chopra, and author of Bad Monkey and Hoot, Floridian novelist Carl Hiaasen. Funds raised are for Kids Care Mobile ICUs, neonatal and pediatric critical care transport vehicles. These vehicles and helicopters safely transport more than 2,000 infants and children a year to Wolfson Children's Hospital. Get your tickets now at thefloridaforum.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
Firefighters, paramedics, police officers, they take care of us, and at AMCO, we're proud to take care of them. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. As an essential business, we work on every kind of car repair with flexible financing and extra safety precautions. Essential, reliable, trusted. That's the men and women who are there for us, and it's our honor to be there for them. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia. AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care.
Right now, they're on their way to ruin your day. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. And if you're not prepared, you will suffer. Yes, it's that time of the year. Heat and humidity are attacking North Florida. But help is at hand. Call Mike Merritt's Heating and Air Conditioning. Mike Merritt has a license to chill and lets you maintain your comfort zone at a bargain price. How? Mike Merritt stands ready to help, routine or emergencies. And Mike Merritt knows emergencies can happen at any time. So with Mike, there's never any overtime charges. And Mike's team works without commissions. Merritt will never try to sell you parts you don't need. You can't trust just anyone with a truck. Call Mike Merritt, the company North Florida has trusted for 35 years. Call today. License number CAC 050384.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Falcons Friday night to close out the NFL preseason as the Jaguars wrap up training camp and start looking ahead to the Miami Dolphins on Sunday, September 8th. Also this Friday night, the first regular season week of high school football here in Northeast Florida. It is a busy time. It is an awesome time. And with that, Let me welcome in my buddy Justin Barney of Channel 4, always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Justin, how we doing?
Not too bad, Hack. One of my favorite weeks of the year, high school football cranking up, and also a Jaguars game on Friday night. More interesting. So football is here, it's back, and I think all of us who are in this profession are excited that the real game starts soon.
It's a great time of year, no question. We'll get to some high school talk with you in a moment, but you've been down to basically every training camp practice over the last month. Justin, as camp wraps up, preseason wraps up Friday night, in totality, what's your thought on the 2024 training camp that has been?
Yeah, I think it's a training camp as usual. Not too high, not too low. You keep things in perspective. Flashes on both sides of the ball. Interesting to see what Ryan Nielsen's defense does once those games actually start counting. But I think potential, I think promise is the big theme takeaway for me here in training camp. I do have questions on offensive line depth and how that unit is going to perform once those games count for real. Can they protect Trevor? Can they open holes in the running game? So I think cautious optimism for me for a rebound season for the Jaguars.
Brian Thomas Jr. seems to really be coming on in the last couple of weeks. He got off to maybe a slow start, but it looks like the rookie's starting to figure some things out.
Yeah, he's looked good. Jamal St. Cyr and I talked throughout camp, like what's going on with Brian Thomas Jr. early on in camp, and he just didn't seem like he had it, or it seemed a little lackadaisical in the field. But maybe he is just that gamer that we've seen in the NFL, or like an Allen Iverson quote, talking about practice, man. Maybe he's just not a practice player, and he is a gamer, but he really adds that speed element. To me, he's turned things on in the last 10 days or so in training camp and looked like that first-round player. The Jaguars receivers, first-round receivers, typically have not done well in their rookie years, so maybe a season of 700, 800 yards for Brian would be a success, but I like the element that he brings, that deep speed threat that they've been lacking, and a little packaging with Gabe and Christian. I think that could be a nice trio for years to come.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, at the end of last year, the 2023 rookie class was getting panned a little bit by the fan base. Look, it's really early in their careers to assess very much, but where we stand right now, man, I got to tell you, Anton Harrison, Tank Bigsby, Ventrell Miller, Antonio Johnson, Braswell, Hodges, you go on down the line, Parker Washington. I mean, there's a lot of intrigue now with those guys coming into year number 2.
Yeah, it's been, cautiously optimistic on those guys too, because Anton's been banged up a little of camp with concussion. He wasn't that great statistically last year, but you did see those flashes. Parker Washington, kind of same thing. When he had that opportunity last year, he was still in that growing and development mode, but he has looked fantastic in training camp in both the return game and as a potential receiver. He had that 73-yard kickoff return in week 1 against the Chiefs that showed just that potential that he has. Worry about Parker every time I see him get hit, he seems to drop the ball or cough it up at some point. Thankfully, those have not been ruled turnovers, but that worries me a little bit. But the potential is there. They like Cooper Hodges. They stashed him on last year. I mean, he was injured, didn't play a snap all season, and they held on to him, which is saying something that they like and they see in that 7th-round pick. And I think the arrow is pointing up. Tank Bigsby, can he overcome that difficult rookie season where it seemed like every time he got on the field, something went wrong, ball went off his hands or he fumbled. So again, he has looked really, really strong in camp. He can be that thunder and compared to the lightning of Travis Etienne. So cautiously optimistic, but I think the arrow pointing up on all those second-year guys.
Justin, Ryan Nielsen was brought in to correct the wrongs of Mike Caldwell and his defensive staff last year, and they brought in a lot of new defensive guys in free agency and the draft. Only allowed 2 touchdowns in 8 quarters of preseason play. What's been your thought on the job Ryan Nielsen has done to this point?
Yeah, and kind of like everything, I think it's looked good so far in camp, and I think what is interesting to me about Ryan Nielsen, I asked him this at the stadium practice. Every defensive player you talk to about Ryan Nielsen says something different about him. Josh Allen has raved about Ryan Nielsen and watching his hands, the handwork, and he's learned from him. Trayvon has talked about the footwork, what Ryan has taught him. You talk to Andre Sisco, it's something completely different. Tyson Campbell, something completely different. So Ryan, it really seems like he knows each guy, what their strengths are, where they need to improve on. It's not just a blanket. I mean, you talk to any defensive player, and I think you're going to hear something completely different about what Ryan Nielsen has taught them or invested in them. So I do think it's interesting. He seems to be the right guy for the job, and interested to see once he gets that full arsenal of players on the field. We haven't seen Eric Armstead out in the game. So once he gets that full slate of guys on the field together, what he's got to work with, I am very, very bullish on Ryan Nielsen. I think he is potentially what this team has been missing in terms of leadership on that defensive side of the ball.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, I want to shift gears to high school in a moment. Final Jaguar topic. They're at 90 right now. They got to be at 53 in less than a week. The 27th, that Tuesday, is when you have to be down to 53. I think the cuts will start coming in probably this weekend after a Friday night game in Atlanta. It's a deep roster, man. I don't think there's any doubt this is the deepest roster that Balky's had in his 4 years as the GM. How hard are some of these cuts going to be at the tail end of that roster?
It's tough. I mean, Jamal and my colleague and I do 53-man roster projections before camp, and we'll do our 53 this week as well. And it's tough for just us sitting there and trying to map out which guys are left off, because once you get to spots 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, there's not a whole lot of separation, and it is so difficult making those final cuts. So I can only imagine what it's like for Doug and Trent and Ryan and Press when they're sitting in the room making those final decisions. And I think a lot of times it comes down to special teams, not the sexiest of topics, but you look at guys like Tim Jones. He's made a career on making Jaguars rosters out of his special teams work. Not a lot of catches each of his last 2 years in the league. I think one catch a couple years ago, 2 catches last year, so not a lot of offensive production. But what you see these guys making the team on is that special teams ability. And even, a guy like a Keelan Robinson, who's been hurt all preseason, the guy they drafted really with an eye on putting him in that return game. Does he make the roster even though he's not played? Do you keep an Elijah Cooks on there again? Do you keep a Tim Jones on there for year 3? So yeah, I think once you get to those final spots, those depth positions, it's what can you do for me on special teams, and what does the new kickoff rules mean to that too? It's a far different scenario than we were in last year when the kickoff system was different. So interesting questions, and I think we're going to see maybe a surprise cut or two, but I think we'll see an undrafted guy sneak on the roster again as well.
Along with the preseason finale for the Jaguars on Friday night, it's the regular season kickoff of high school football here in the Northeast Florida area. Justin, a couple of games stick out right out of the gate, and we'll start with the big rivalry just to the to the west of us, Bradford County, Baker County, 2 really good teams, 2 teams that have a healthy respect for one another. But there's also a healthy rivalry out there. Great way to start the year with Baker and Bradford going at it on Friday night.
Always a great one. I think they call it the blood rivalry or something along those lines, and it is a great small school, small town rivalry. Jamie Rogers, coach at Bradford, he's a Baker County guy. He graduated from Baker County, and he led them to a state championship game appearance while he was at Baker County. He has done excellent jobs everywhere he's been in his coaching career. No exception to that. The work he's done at Bradford, they were 14-1 last year, played for a state championship. And he has got that program humming along. They've got a lot of graduation losses. I love what Jamie's done. And on the flip side of that, I like what Kevin Mays has done at Baker County. He came into that program and has really not missed a beat. His worst season was his first, and they went 6-5 and made the playoffs. Took them to the state semifinals. 2 evenly matched, very good programs. Bradford's won the last 4 in that series, and including 2 in the playoffs. So that is an excellent season. Always a tough game. I think last year they had like a 12-0 game early on in the season. So these 2 teams will be close and evenly matched, and I think that's going to be a great one out there in McClenny Friday night.
Final moments, Justin Barney, Channel 4. Baker County, Bradford County is one of the big ones. Certainly the other big one over on San Jose Boulevard with Rains and Bowles. And I talked to Matthew Toblin about this earlier. I commend him for scheduling Rains. I commend the Rains coaching staff, Coach Maslin, for scheduling Bowles. It's a game that neither team has to play, but it's great that they are playing it. It's great for the area and high school football.
Absolutely. And, even you wind the clock back to when Duran Wiley was there and Corky Rogers was there. Those guys were in the same district for quite some time, and they knew what that game would mean to them as coaches and to their programs. You were going to get better from that game, whether you won or you lost. And I remember talking to Duran after heartbreaking losses to Bowls and then also big wins over Bowls. And he said that game elevated him and his coaching staff to be better men, elevated them to be better coaches. And I think that's what you're going to see this Friday night with Bowls and Reigns out of the gate in week one. Our game of the week, our Varsity 4 game of the week. We're streaming that as well on Friday night. So that is going to be an excellent one. I think this is going to be a fantastic game. Bowls has ended Reigns' season the last 2 years in the playoffs, 21-14 in 2022 and 14-7 last year in a little bit of a defensive slugfest. Both these teams so much better than they were a year ago. Bowls, an unorthodox 8-6 finish last year, still made the state semifinals, but a little bit of a learning curve with a lot of young faces. Hey, those young guys are grown up now for Bowls and Reigns. They were good last year. They had a lot of transfers come in. So looking forward to seeing Reigns because it is going to be a far different Vikings team than we saw on the field last year at the Graveyard against Bowls in the third round of the playoffs. So a fantastic one out of the gate. You love to see these non-district clashes that where guys take a chance and schedule a tough game instead of a homecoming game. And that is exactly what Bowls Reigns is on Friday night, an excellent clash between two of the best teams in the area with state championship expectations for both of those guys.
Justin, as we wrap up, along with Reigns and Bowls, along with Baker County, Bradford County, if you take those two out, give the folks out there another game or two that you would go see on Friday night.
A lot of good ones this week. We got Creekside going to Mandarin. Can Mandarin, which is our number one team in the area and a lot of people's number one's team, they have a ton of potential, but they've never beaten Creekside. The senior class has never beaten Creekside. Knights have won 2 in a row over Tremel Jones and Jamie French and the seniors at Mandarin. So this game, despite it being a week one game, non-district game, is very personal to Mandarin players. They feel like they've let a couple get away from them against Creekside. So that is going to be a very good game. Mandarin, of course, loaded. Our number one team in the area, Creekside, our number 9 team in the area. Sean McIntyre and company have a great offensive group over there. Caleb Taylor-Birch, Sean Aschenfelder, Harrison Garrido. So that is going to be an excellent one. Of course, you cannot talk about a Friday night without 2 great St. Johns County rivalry games. Ponte Vedra going to Nice. Nice, of course, won that game last year in that rivalry to win the district championship. And then a St. Johns and Putnam County rivalry, St. Augustine heading to Palatka in an unusual week one game. Those two guys usually meet in week 11, but it's leading off the season, tied for the oldest consistently running rivalry in state history. St. Augustine and Palatka, 10 in a row for the Yellow Jackets in that series. But man, that is a good one. Patrick Turner's got a good team in Palatka, and St. Augustine, of course, played for a championship last year and will try and get back there this year behind a fantastic offense led by Lachlan Hewlett and Carl Jenkins Jr.
The run to the state championship for every school in our area kicks off Friday night, week 1 of the high school football season here in Northeast Florida. Justin, give yourselves a Channel 4 a little love, man. What do you got coming up Jaguar-related content as we lead into Atlanta on Friday night?
And we got a lot of Jaguar stuff, and Jamal St. Cyr and I do our News for Jags podcast. We've got our 53-man roster projections coming out on Thursday, and a lot of Jaguars news, a lot of high school football news, and of course we're streaming our high school football Varsity 4 game of the week on newsforjax.com and News4Jax Plus on Friday night. That's Bowls and Reigns. Pre-game coverage for that one starts at 7 p.m.
My buddy Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, I know you're busy. Thank you as always, pal. We'll talk soon.
Take care, Hack. Thanks for having me.
The home of the home team you grew up with.
McCardell is the Thunder and the Thunder and Lightning combination, along with Jimmy Smith. Quite a duo.
1010XL.
Prosser here. Hey, pick a news source. But the reports are home prices are expected to decline in 2025, even after the election. So you need to maximize your home sales price now before this downturn, and you can do it with the agents proven to sell for top dollar, Chad and Sandy Newman. Hey, perhaps you're worried about selling for less money with a lowball out-of-state instant offer, or maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but you're not sure how. That's why you turn to Chad and Sandy, who have the answers. No required costly repairs. Chad and Sandy are the local real estate experts I trust and recommend for the sale of your home. Tony and Maggie at Jack's Golf and Country Club said, "We recently had a job transfer and we needed to sell fast. With homes in our area struggling to sell inside 100 days, we didn't know what to do. Our worries were solved when we hired Chad and Sandy. Our home sold in 3 days for one of the highest prices ever in our neighborhood at over $1 million. Call the local experts we trust, 904-414-6200 or ChadAndDSandy.com.
I am dedicated. I am TNT.
With Team in Training, you will reach your best physical self so blood cancer patients can reach theirs. Change your life by joining a marathon, half marathon, triathlon, or a cycle event, and you'll change the lives of blood cancer patients.
I am committed. I am TNT.
After 600,000 participants and almost $1 billion raised for treatments, TNT has helped the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society make a significant impact in the advancement of blood cancer therapies that save lives every day.
I am making a difference. I am TNT.
Join TNT. Expand your circle of friends to be part of a very special community. Train with world-class trainers and have the chance to be part of the most exciting endurance sports events in the country. Or train on your own schedule with TNT Flex. Join TNT and fundraise while you train and take part in getting us all closer to a world without blood cancers.
Join TNT now. Go to teamintraining.org.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Rotator cuff tears are the most common overhead injuries I see. In order to avoid shoulder issues, make sure not to overload the front of the shoulder while also focusing on developing good scapular strength and maintaining flexibility in your lats. Proper hydration, nutrition, and supplementation are also crucial to joint and muscle health. Go Jag.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting. 1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Well, Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein & Robbins DUI defense firm.
David Ammon here with Zero Res. So Ammon, your mom mentioned it's been a year since we did a complete house cleaning. The kitchen tile and living room floors are looking pretty dingy. It's time to call Zero Res.
That's right. Most folks know that Zero Res does an amazing job at cleaning their carpets and rugs, but they don't know that Zero Res can clean their tile and grout, LVP, and wood floors.
And right now, Zero Res is offering 25% off all hard floor cleaning. Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us, and we are finally here. College football kicks off Saturday afternoon, Dublin, Ireland, Florida State and Georgia Tech. The first game out of the gate. There's a handful of games on Saturday after Florida State and Georgia Tech, and then college football kicks off en masse beginning next Thursday as we head into Labor Day weekend. With all that being said, my buddy Brent Beard, you see him locally on First Coast News. You get him weekly as well right here on Hacker After Dark. Mr. Beard, after the blood, the sweat, and the tears to get through the college football offseason, I imagine you are very, very fired up for this Saturday.
Well, it's just great to see it off and running from what we've seen, to be able to talk about actually some previews of games. Now, people may not be on the edge of their chair watching some of these games, but just to be able to say that you can watch it and that you're going to have football until January the 20th, frankly, is something special. So, yes, it certainly is. And I had a chance. I went to not one but two high school jamborees last week and really enjoyed that. And the high school ranks that you're right in the middle of with your show, they are around the corner, too. So it's a good week, isn't it, Hank?
Yeah, it's a great time of year. There's no question about that. We'll get to Florida State and Georgia Tech in a moment, but this will be kind of our last week of an overview. Obviously, next week we'll start breaking down individual games, and what a weekend next weekend is on Labor Day weekend. But let's start in the Southeastern Conference, Brent, just a mile-high view. Is it as simple as Georgia, Texas, maybe Alabama, and then everybody else? Is that the way you see it coming into the year?
I think you could very well have probably as many as 5 SEC teams in the playoffs, and I think you could throw in maybe certainly Missouri, certainly Ole Miss. Tennessee, if they were able to get on a run themselves. If you've got a tough schedule, and this came out this week, and there's some merit to it, then even a 9-3 team that really caught fire late and played a really tough schedule, they could get in there too. So this is the beauty of having a 12-team playoff, frankly, or all these scenarios of things that could happen.
Brent, is it national championship or disappointment/failure for the Georgia Bulldogs?
They're at that point to where it very well may be. Particularly when you've been undefeated during the regular season for as many years as they've got. Now, they've got a really difficult schedule, so I don't think the undefeated part will carry through to the end of the year. With Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss on the road, and then you've got Clemson that won't be easy either in Atlanta. There's a real chance of them losing a game or maybe even two. But, look, I get that thought process, but, heck, still to me, the reality is if you win your conference championship and you're able to, get into the playoffs and go a round or two, people can't convince me that's a failure of a season.
Yeah, of course, Georgia opens up with Clemson a week from Saturday, as you mentioned, in Atlanta. We're here with Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You get him weekly as well right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, Texas arrives in the Southeastern Conference along with Oklahoma. With all due respect to Oklahoma, let's focus on Texas. Could they crash the college football playoff year number 1 as a member of the SEC?
They could. That's very possible. Now, obviously, with C.J. Baxter getting hurt and the injuries they've had at running back, that may pose a problem. But all in all, they're a very good team. Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning are going to be fine. I think the reality for them is going to be how good are they going to be. This will determine their season, is how well they do in the defensive line after losing guys like Sweat to the NFL. And even a bigger issue is losing Bo Davis, the best defensive line coach in the nation, to LSU. So they can certainly make some noise. This is Sarkisian's best football team. It's his deepest team. They've got some really good wide receivers. Isaiah Bond transferred from Alabama, and he basically is their number one receiver right now. So, but a challenging schedule. It's not going to be easy as their alumni think it's going to be, but that will be a very interesting welcome for the Horns to the league.
Life after Nick Saban begins for your alma mater a week from Saturday. What are the expectations out in Tuscaloosa for the Crimson Tide under first-year head coach Kalen DeBoer?
That they will make the playoffs and they will make a run at winning the championship. They have really done a good job of about as smooth a transition as they could have. I mean, they're either one or two in the recruiting rankings, which is interesting. Their general manager, which is a term we're going to have to get used to, just signed a new 3-year deal for nearly $1 million a year for a general manager, but Southern Cal offered him $1 million a year. This is a really good football team. They've got a strong quarterback, running back, offensive line, receiver room. I think their front seven is going to be good. Their weakness is their secondary, basically with experience or inexperience on that line. A game at Wisconsin early, that will certainly be a test for them, with Tyler Van Dyke from Miami being the quarterback. Huge game, obviously, with Georgia, road game at Tennessee, road game at LSU. So it will not be easy, but their team, I think, that can certainly be 10-2-ish at least by the end of the year.
A couple of more for Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Those are the three, right? Georgia, Texas, Alabama that everybody's talking about. Now let's work our way down a little bit before we shift gears to the ACC. You mentioned these two teams a little earlier. There's a lot of hype surrounding Ole Miss and Missouri. Do you buy into the hype for both teams heading into the year?
I buy into it more for Ole Miss than I do Missouri. I mean, Ole Miss has a very easy September schedule. They'll take advantage of that. I mean, being able to bring in the guys that they did from the transfer portal is a real plus, like guys like Walter Nolan from A&M on the defensive line. Jackson Dart's one of the best at quarterbacks. Trey Harris at wide receiver. Ulysses Bentley deserves a lot of credit. I mean, they are stacked, frankly, in terms of talent. Huge game with Georgia coming in November. I mean, I like Missouri, too, with the Luther Burden, Brady Cook. They don't have the Schrader kid. He went to the NFL. They did lose Blake Baker to LSU as the coordinator. So I buy more for Ole Miss than I do for Missouri, but Eli Drinkwith has got them going, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. So, heck, would it necessarily shock you if they were either in the playoff or on the verge at the end of the year?
Yeah, they were a top 10 team towards the end of last year. Missouri did very, very well for themselves. Of the rest, Brent, we'll save Florida for the last here, but whether you want to go Tennessee, Auburn, LSU, any other direction you want to go, who could be a surprise in the SEC, might crash that party at the end of the year?
I almost hate to say LSU, but I'm going to because I think they'll actually be better defensively. I mean, you and I, whoever's in the studio, would have been better in that defense last year. But Blake Baker, as we just mentioned, is there. Garrett Nussmeier is going to be good. John Emery will be. I mean, they've got as good offense as anybody does in the league. If they can get better defensively, will certainly be the key. What they're going to do with Harold Perkins will be interesting. Perkins went from 210 to 220, so I think that's going to help him. Tennessee beat writers will tell you that they're going to be good with Nico Lamaliva, and we'll learn how to pronounce it by the end of the year. Brew McCoy, Squirrel White comes back. And I think they'll be better with Cooper Mays, maybe the best center around anywhere. Early game with NC State. Auburn, a lot's going to depend on Peyton Thorne. They're much better in wide receiver with Cam Cameron, the freshman, Jarquez Hunter, and that running back room is going to be good. Auburn has just a weird schedule where they play all home games in September and don't play any home games in October. I mean, that's just nuts, frankly, but that's what you've got. But all in all, it's going to be the usual, very competitive, very good league.
Quickly, Brent, to Florida. If I told you right now 7-5, would you take that?
Yep, and sign a contract for it right now. I think they'll be 5-0 or 4-1 at the end of September, and look, what they can't do is lose to UCF or Mississippi State. But they're as good as LSU. That they could beat LSU. The November schedule is going to be brutal, so they really need to have 6 wins if they can before they get into the schedule in November. I love Graham Mertz. I think DJ Lagway is going to be a star. Montrell Johnson needs to get healthy, and the defense has got to be better overall. So 7-5 would be improvement, yes.
Again, a week and a half before Florida and Miami. We will certainly talk about that game a bunch next week when we have Mr. Brent Beard with us. Brent, Florida State, we don't have to wait for the Seminoles to play. They kick it off on Saturday in Dublin, Ireland, to kick off the college football year against Georgia Tech. A Georgia Tech team that returns 15 starters, right? 8 on offense, 7 on defense. A Georgia Tech team that beat Miami last year, beat a ranked North Carolina team last year, and beat UCF in a bowl game. Florida State's got more talent. Florida State should win the game, but be careful. It's an odd game against a decent opponent to open up for the Seminoles.
Agree totally. Haynes King, the A&M transfer, is a good quarterback. Jamal Haynes, they moved him from wide receiver to running back, and he gained over 1,000 yards. So, yeah, they can give Florida State some credit and some problems. But, I mean, FSU's got too much talent. They'll beat Boston College and Georgia Tech by double digits, where their first struggle is going to be against Memphis in September. No one's really talked about that game yet, but that's coming. And the thing with DJU, Uyunglele is going to be very important. He's got to improve. I mean, the last 2 years, he's got to be more towards 60-62% of his passing. Last year at Oregon State, he was 51%. So, but it's a good team. They've got several Alabama transfers like Malik Benson, who's going to help them, and they've got a lot of guys to replace, but they've still got a lot of talent coming back. So I think they'll win the ACC, or at least play Clemson in order to do it. Miami's going to be involved with that too. We can't forget them. But Florida State, I think, very well could be a playoff team.
You know, you mentioned Miami. What's in there? Every year or every offseason, there's a lot of hype surrounding Miami, and more years than not, they don't live up to it. This year, there is a ton of hype surrounding Miami. We're going to find out a lot about the Hurricanes a week from Saturday in Gainesville. Do you buy the hype when it comes to Miami coming into 2024?
Maybe. Now, they've got much better talent. I mean, Damian Martinez coming over from Oregon State is really impressive. Mark Fletcher, he is coming back. The guy they love is Cam Ward at quarterback, and the expectations are going to be high for him. Xavier Restapro at wide receiver. Jalen Rivers, who you covered when he was at Oakleaf, one of the better offensive linemen. The Bain kid on the defensive line is really strong. And again, the Florida game is very important for them. But what's going to happen here is Mario Cristobal is going to go from just being a good recruiter to a good recruiter and a successful coach. And the problem is he has an unexplainable loss every year, and that's one thing they need to dump that out of the playbook this year. Is to lose a game like they did against Georgia Tech last year.
Yeah, it was a terrible loss to Georgia Tech, no question about it. Miami kicks off a week from Saturday against Florida. Georgia kicks off a week from Saturday against Clemson. And, of course, Florida State kicks off this Saturday to open up the year against Georgia Tech. Quickly, Brent, we got about 2 minutes to go. People love the commentating crews, and a couple have been announced for some of the big local games. And for Florida fans, keep in mind, no more CBS. Your ABC now, your ESPN now. That'll be quite the change for Gator fans over the last 20 years or so.
Yeah, you won't have the iconic theme that you did in the SEC. Unfortunately, that's going to the Big Ten. Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer, Katie George on the call in the Gator game. Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy, Molly McGrath for, again, on ABC for the Georgia-Clemson game. Also, and then Fowler, Herbstreit, to Holly Rowe for Notre Dame A&M. I thought that was interesting. And then what about, and that's the reason they paid these guys the big bucks, Herbstreit's doing the Notre Dame A&M game on Saturday night of Labor Day weekend, and then the next night he'll be in Las Vegas with Reese Davis calling the LSU and Southern Cal game. But Ryan, safe to say, all those guys probably don't fly commercial, do they?
Yeah, no, I think they'll be just fine in their private penthouse suite up in the sky. No question about that. Yeah. You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. Florida State, Georgia Tech kick it off on Saturday, and then everybody gets underway next week. Brent, we'll recap the Noles and the Yellow Jackets, and we'll preview a huge Labor Day weekend of college football in 7 days, my friend. Thank you as always.
Always, brother. Take care.
Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
And thank you to my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly here on... And thank you to my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark as Florida State and Georgia Tech will kick off the college football season Saturday at high noon. And then, of course, beginning next Thursday into Friday into Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, we'll have 5 straight days of college football week 1 action there on Labor Day weekend. We talked about a lot tonight. We had a little bit college talk, a little bit of high school football talk, and a lot of NFL talk, as we're going to do many, many times as the coming weeks and months go by. Certainly want to thank everybody for joining us here this evening as far as the college football talk. We focused on the SEC and the ACC as opening weekend this weekend, and, of course, week 1 next weekend when Florida plays Miami, Georgia plays Clemson, LSU, Southern Cal next weekend, Texas A&M, Notre Dame next weekend. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun as the most anticipated college football season perhaps ever gets set to kick off. High school football-wise, opening day in Northeast Florida is Friday evening. Week 1 action headlined by Baker County and Bradford County. Also Bowles and Rains, Creekside Mandarin, another really good game as we kick off high school football here in 2024. And then, of course, a ton of Jaguar talk as the preseason wraps up Friday night in Atlanta. And then it's cut-down day. The Jaguars next Tuesday, the 27th, have to get from 90 to 53. So a lot of tough decisions set to be made by General Manager Trent Baalke and, of course, head coach Doug Peterson. Well, that'll just about do it. It has been a very, very busy Wednesday evening here on Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us on 1010XL. We will be back tomorrow night on a Thursday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green, And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM.
Spirited sports talk.
He never wavered in his belief.
Spirited sports conversation.
If you're gonna